It's Bruce Hill, New Skills in the U, driving revenue through personal and professional development, turning more clients into, flip it, reverse it, turn more conversations into clients and helping you hear yes more often. Really excited for a founder who's doing a pre-seed raise for a business. And I was like, what challenges are you having in creating revenue? And she's like, we've got to turn more of these product demos into paying clients. I said, I can help with that. I'm gonna make a video and I'll send it to you. So guess what? You guys get to watch me build a product demo using the 4P framework. Okay, so let's hop over here. Let's do entire screen, share. Boom, how to build a product demo. We're going to use, call it, I want a really catchy name, but for right now, it's 4P sales framework. Sometimes I put strategy in here because I can spell, but I can't type. Because it really is about having a strategic plan of execution. It's not about hiring a trainer or using artificial intelligence or some expensive software or some complicated methodology, which they all may be valuable when they're paired with a strategy. So I'm going to teach you, P.S. I dive into the strategy more deeply in my book, Asking Better Questions.com. And I will admit, I've rewritten this book twice now. I just keep getting more and more specific on who it's for. It's for founders, it's for sales leaders, it's for business owners who are looking to increase revenue and retention without either whether they don't want to or they just don't have access to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So even though this scales to enterprise level, and I'm going to see a lot more enterprise-sized companies running leaner, running with a more entrepreneurial approach to business, this is for the folks that are building. And these are the folks that are aggressive in their growth goals. So part of growing, I think, raising funds for investors, loans, grants, those are all great ways to build your business. But one of the best ways to build business is through revenue. Let me write this down. The best way to build okay. Why is this so important? Because when you have customers that generate revenue, we're not just free signups, trials, right? That generate revenue, it's a lot easier to do the other things. It's a lot easier to convince investors to work with you. It's a lot easier to get loans if you decide to go that way. Sometimes loans are better than investors because loans don't tell you what to do. They just tell you when to pay, right? Investors are gonna try and control the company, your decisions. Sometimes loans aren't bad. It's easier to get grants. Not exclusive, or excuse me, a blanket statement. But when you have success, it's a lot easier. Anyone who's raised a round of funding, they know that's true. But guess what? If you do this part well enough, you might not need this part. Okay, let's keep going. Let's talk about building. What's the 4P sales framework? That'll be my next video. I'll dive into that. Type in the 4P sales strategy framework and search, it will be up. You can dive into this a little deeper. So it's going to be people, promise, process, and price. Okay, that's the framework in a nutshell. So how do we use this to build a product demo? Well, first, what is a product demo? Let's ask Google. I try not to use this AI overview. It hasn't been consistently accurate enough. Here we go. Thanks, User Pilot. Make sure I give them credit. I don't know if I'll have to check that out. Ooh, Demo Desk. Now, this is a tool I've used before. I really like it a lot for technical demos. So shout out to Demo Desk. Let's put that in here. And you know what? I'm feeling generous. Make sure you get, if I forget, put in the comments. I'll get you a copy of the notes. It's a live or recorded, I recommend live. because it allows them to ask questions, but you should have a recorded option for folks that just don't match up with your schedule. Okay. Showcasing core features and capabilities, that should be second. Here it is. This should be first. The value of the product to a prospective or current customer. Okay. That is, hold on a second. That is the promise. Why? I don't want to sign up. 1 second. There we go. That is the promise. We talk about the value. That's the promise we're talking about. Its primary purpose is demonstrate how the customer can solve the product can solve the customer's problems. That's this part. I'll dive into this in another conversation, but the problem and the people are put in the same category. And the reason for that is problems don't exist without people. So a lot of times people will tell you the problems are separate. The problem is part of the people you were looking for. Anyway, I'll get into that in a different video. Look at the 4P show strategy framework. Look for that video. I'll dive deeper into that. And then drive their purchase decision, right? That's price. Okay. So how do we do that in less than an hour? Honestly, I'd like to get demos less than 30 minutes because it leaves time for questions. Now, some people say, well, our offering is more complex, can't get it done in 30 minutes, and that may be true. But I argue if you cannot succinctly explain and demonstrate your product's value in 30 minutes, you may either be overcomplicating it or you might have two solutions. Give a little smoothie there. So I do like an hour slot. But I believe better questions create better clients. So we got to leave time for that. If you're doing all the talking, it's not a great demo. You could have just recorded it. If they're asking questions, they're engaged, they're curious, now we're getting somewhere. Now you're going to hear yes more often, which is why the book is that's right. The book is called Better Questions. So I do recommend a 60-minute time slot. This is a business meeting. Okay. This isn't just to tell you the price. I can email you the price. But we're going to have a conversation about how partnering with our company, using our product or service is going to drive your goals, right? That's going to get you here. That's the goal of a product demo. Really, I don't need them to understand the product or service. I just need to understand how it helps them succeed. All right, so let's get into it. First things first, the people. Now in the book, we talk about the internal and external people, right? So internal is your team, your employees, maybe contractors, right? The external is your client. We're going to focus on the client in this one. So she did a great job on this, and she'll watch this. So compliments to you, where you say, hey, we got to make sure they're a right fit. So the first thing I want to ask, that's the first thing to have. The person I'm looking for has a need or desire that we can alleviate, and they'll trade us, right? They'll trade us payment for it. They'll trade us currency. There's an exchange that happens. I love this question because one of three things will happen. I mean, we didn't know we had a problem. There's some education that needs to happen. They'll say, well, we do 1, 2, 3, X, Y, Z. Okay, great. Or they'll say we're not doing anything. And that's a little different than the first one. The first one's they don't even know how the problems. They're just oblivious. The last one, right? We have a problem, but we don't know what to do. Those are my favorites. Those are going to close the easiest. They're going to pay you quickly. They realize they have a problem and they're looking for a solution. That doesn't happen. So a lot of education has got to happen. I believe sales is much more consultative these days, right? I've got all this information. How do I use it? I was reading a book. Man, what book was that? He was talking about how travel agents have seen a resurgence because originally websites, what's that one? Priceline, right? Trivago, um, have replaced travel agents. But now he said the resurgence comes as there's so many options. They need a guide. They need someone with knowledge and experience to help them make the best choice for their needs, for their goals. That's you. This is all, I call it the sales distance. And that actually might be my next book. That might be my next book. Between where they are today, right, the current state to where they want to go, what happens if they stay there? If they're content with where they are, it's going to be tough to sell. You're going to drag them across the finish line. And honestly, I don't recommend it. So there's some people that say, hey, we can't get to where we want to go if we stay here. We've got plans. We've got a better future. Those are people we're looking for. It's not always the folks, there's businesses on fire. Those can be quick sales and even long-time partnerships. We'll talk about retention some other time. But these are really the folks that have a vision for a bigger, brighter future. Those are the folks you're looking for. So all you have to do is show them how you're going to get them there. That's the process, and they'll work with you. Okay, so you want to be clear on who you serve. If they check the boxes, yes, this is who I'm looking for, then we're going to work. So the people is important because we want to make sure that the company, that the industry is someone we can serve with excellence. So there's a few questions. There's many more, but that's where you want to start. Is qualifying. Some people call it qualifying. Is identifying, hey, is this someone we can serve with excellence? I'm going to write that there. Some of these questions you're going to ask before you get to the call, you're right. You got to ask internally, hey, do we even know who that is? So then when you run into them, you get the light bulb, right? You're like, there they are. This is who I'm looking for. So that first part of the demo, I describe who this serves the best. And one or two things happen. They say, hey, that's not me. And they qualify out. That's fine. I want yes or no as quickly as possible. Or they'll say, hey, that is me. They'll raise their hand and say, yeah, that's me. This is what I'm looking for. Builds credibility. You know what you're talking about. Builds connection. So they feel like you understand who they are. And so the first part of the product demo should be talking about who you serve with excellence. 1 to 2 minutes. And it's not about you, right? It's about them. And they'll feel seen. And I promise you, you'll hear yes more often. All right, process. People get stuck here. People get stuck here. They talk about all the bells and whistles. They talk about all the features, how it works, how long it took to build. That's not important. The process should answer this question. Actually, let me back up. Let me do this. Let's talk about the promise. Because if you talk about how before you talk about why, it loses context and relevance. So the promise is, what is the outcome? There's 3 things. It's time, money, or energy. I say, hey, how does working with this give you back time? Now, it may be one of these things, might be 2, is rarely all 3. Usually there's a trade. They're like, hey, we don't want to take the time to do this. We don't want to take the energy to do this. So we're going to pay you money to do it for us, right? And then they'll say, hey, we have plenty of time, but we don't have money and we have energy, right? So they're going to put more energy and time into something so they can save money. But those are the 3 business priorities. Can we save time? Can we save money or make money? And can we save energy, right? It's manpower. Everybody's trying to be more efficient. So for the young lady I was talking to yesterday, this is something I will highlight. Say, look, you could do this yourself. You could. Or you can work with us and get it done faster and better. So one of the benefits of working with her is um, she described it as getting it right the first time. And it allows for more time and resources to be spent on improvement, less less time and money and on testing. All right, testing ideas, testing ratios. So what happens is you work hard. She has a process to help you get the best idea and execute it well the first attempt. Then you can take any additional time and resources on the small improvements. But instead of having to start over to test, and then execute, she helps you get it right the first time. That needs to be a huge emphasis in conversation. Listen, you're already doing this, or you're planning on doing this. Do you want it to be easy, or do you want it to be difficult? That's the question. Do you want it to be easier, or do you want it to be difficult? If you want it to be difficult, keep doing what you're doing. If you want it to be faster, better, and easier, then you need to work with us. Now, here's what happens. So then you're talking to the right people who have a problem we can solve, right? Someone I can serve with X. And you tell them the promise. You say, hey, working with us is going to help you accomplish your goals faster, better, and easier. It's going to help you get to where you want to go, right? They're going to ask you a very simple question. They're going to say, how? How do you do it? Now we talk about the process. And honestly, in 60 minutes, this probably is 15, maybe 4 or 5 here, who we serve, why, the outcome of working with us. They'll say, yeah, that's what we need. That's where we want to go. All right, great. Let me walk you through how we do it. Walk them through, if you can, ask them about a real business use case. Hey, tell me about the last project you did, right? How'd it go? Walk me through the process. And this is where our product demos, and I like them live, is a little different because it can be tailored to the individual in front of you, or people in front of you. Maybe it's more than one. You say, hey, tell me about the last time you tried to do this. How'd it go? Well, pretty well. How long did it take you? Oh, it took us a month. Really? Are you happy with that time frame? No, it's okay. It's what it always is. Okay, great. Let's walk through that same scenario. Right? Let's use our product or service. Okay. So you walk them through clear path to success. And what happens is you come right back here, show them how it's faster, better, easier. Sometimes it's not faster, it's just better. And sometimes it's better and easier. Sometimes you can get the same results, same speed, but it's easier. People will pay for that because it saves some time and it saves some energy. Right? One of these, all three is great. If you have all three, you got a unicorn. All right, so use a real business use case. You can picture themselves using a product. They can already envision, let's go back to, right, themselves in the desired outcome. That's what we want. So now you walk them through it step by step. Then you talk about price. I love telling people the price. I'm like, look, here it is. Unless you have a very complex offering, like health benefits or something, it probably should not be a secret. Now, obviously, I want to practice typing. Obviously, I want this decision to be yes. It's not always going to be yes. I'll never lie to you and promise you, you will always hear yes. I want it to be yes more often. I just need to make that decision as simple as possible. So if there are yeses in there, I want to make it as easy as possible for them to understand that they're the right people who want to get here. I'm going to help you get there, and here's how much it'll cost you. So I usually have two prices: baseline and then like a premier option. Then of course there's customized options. I stay away from those. They can really slow down your sales process, and they're not scalable. And honestly, customized option probably should be above premier price to make it worth your while. If you're early stage and you're like, man, we just really need customers, maybe you have time and energy to do this. Honestly, you want to have two packages designed for those people you can serve with excellence. And you want to create it so that it fits as many as of the right people as possible, right? These people, whether those one or two options. So the decision's easy, I can streamline it, I can track its efficiency much better. I love to keep pricing simple as possible. Even with, in fact, even with a complex offering, simple pricing can be a competitive advantage. Make sure it makes sense for the business, right? I'm not telling you to operate in a deficit, but these two have served me very well. And then I let them know. I say, hey, listen, this isn't going to change magically if you take too long, but I have budget this month for 2 new clients. That's this thing. All right. And I put this in my sales revenue planning. I say, hey, how many discounts can we give out this month? I really don't like giving discounts. Ooh, next video will be about discounts. But I find that they're useful for the right clients. What do I mean by the right clients? Clients we love to work with. Clients that fit who we're looking for as close to perfect as possible, right? Someone we can serve with X, where they're not going to be a headache. I talked to another startup. I think they started in 2017, and they've got some professional customers, on a professional level, and then they do some universities, do some high schools. I said, hey, do you do any international clients? And they said, no, they weren't worth the trouble. Okay, this one right here that I have highlighted, they couldn't serve them with excellence. And so we don't give them discounts. If they come up, they pop up, you say, hey, yeah, we want to work with you. Okay, here's the price. We don't give those people that are headaches discounts. But the ones we really love to work with, absolutely, because we want to attract more of those people. Now, again, even with a discount, it's got to make business sense. Don't operate in a deficit. But I encourage you to budget one or two, whether it's percentage or total dollar amount, however you want to do it. Put that in your budget. Don't use it as a closing technique. That's desperation. That's not strategic. Use it as part of your sales strategy. Say, hey, listen, we really love to work with you guys. For you, don't go telling people about this. For you, you sign this month, we're going to give you an additional X, whether it's percentage, dollars off, free month. But make sure it's part of the plan. Say, hey, I don't want to rush you. If you want to do this next month, no problem. The standard price still applies. But if you start this month, man, let's make some magic together. And so that's how I use, oh, this is always important in a demo. Say, okay, any last questions, comments, concerns? No? Great. Would you like to get started today or sometime in the near future? They'll say, well, it needs to be the future. I'm gonna say when, right? And they'll say, okay, I got this browser's approval. I've got to run this by the VP. Great, we need to talk to the VP. We need to make sure this isn't your business. I don't want you to answer questions about a business that isn't yours. When can we talk to the VP? I'll say, oh, we got to get budget approval. Not a problem. Follow your internal processes. How long is that going to take? Cannot overemphasize this. Make sure it's on both your calendars. Make sure it's on both your calendars. So you do not leave a call without clear next steps. Whether that's a date that we're going to get an answer, right? A decision, yes or no, Whether that's, hey, if it is a yes, okay, we're going to send the invoice on this day. Whatever the case is, do not leave without a clear step. All right. And that's how we use the 4P sales strategy framework to build a product demo. Good luck. Cheers to your success. And remember, one new skill will change your life.